This is Ed from Just Saying Asia, and today we're just saying with the Fandom Menace, a not-for-profit that champions the work that independent creators do in Singapore. We have with us Ryan today, the founder of the Fandom Menace. The Fandom Menace in Singapore, and I have to say that for reasons that I'll explain in a bit. Hi Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. How's it been with the lockdown and things not being able to leave home?
It's been interesting. I'm glad that we're done with most of it. It's been a challenge because a lot of our work, of course, we do work a lot online, but a lot of it is also about meeting up with creatives. So that's been on hold for almost 2 months now.
Right. And I know you're working on quite a big project, which we'll talk about in a bit. But first off, the reason why I said the Fandom Menace in Singapore, it's because, you're one of the sub-editors of Just Saying, and you're part of the Just Saying team. But when you started the Fandom Menace, a couple of months after that, I saw something interesting that came out from the US, and I went up to you and said, hey, you know what? So what's this whole deal with the Fandom Menace in the US? And they were receiving a bit of flack. And then we've got you, who are also named the Fandom Menace, but you're based out of Singapore. Is there any relation? Two organizations with the same name, and I think you guys do very different stuff. So tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah, for the same name thing, I just blame it on it being a very easy pun to make. But as for what we do, yes, we are very different organizations. I believe the Fandom Menace in the US is basically a group of fans who truly wish to menace the current Star Wars cast and crew. On our case, it's a bit different. We're actually a not-for-profit organization, as you mentioned, and our goal is to work with local talents and kind of navigate them through the course of getting their works published, or at least offering them kind of like counsel and advice on how to get their work done. We're very different, and also I would say that most of us are definitely Star Wars sequel trilogy fans at the very least.
Okay, and so you talk about championing independent artists and creators in Singapore. Maybe a little bit about yourself and what puts you in a position to not just be able to or want to be able to help this group of people. So I know you yourself, you're a published writer, and so a little bit about your background and how you got started.
Okay, so why I kind of want to do this and why I feel like I'm in the position to be able to help people is I've had some very rare opportunities over my career as a professional writer. So I've been writing for 17 years now. I started off with script doctoring for television before moving on to stage and even comics. And the thing is, a lot of people just are not going to get the opportunities that I've had. I mean, sure, you can go to school and that's something everybody could do. But the thing is, a lot of the decisions that you make to become the type of creative you want to be comes well from work. So with the Fandom Menace, what we wanted to do was to be able to share the kind of experience, share the kind of opportunities that a lot of us in my team have had, but we have not really been able to see other people having it in a very generic sense. So in a few years ago, I published my first independent comic. This was 10 years ago in 2010. And even then, it was already very clear that the idea of a local comic book, like a lot of local media, it was going to take time to build traction. In fact, within a Singaporean audience, there's always a very strong resistance to Singaporean content. So that is kind of what we wanted to challenge. And I would say that is actually our main goal, to have Singaporeans look at local products and content creators and say, yeah, this is good. I'm happy to say that I'm a fan of Singaporean content.
So Ryan, you've been writing for about 17 years now, right?
Yeah.
How have you seen the um, industry change from what it was in Singapore 17 years ago to now?
Okay, I would say for one, we've definitely got more people who are daring to kind of become players in the industry. More people who are willing to say, I want to become a writer or an artist or a musician or whatever. And that alone is the biggest difference because you have people who are, daring to dare. And the thing is, while we're still not in an ideal situation where you've got an educational system that encourages these people to pursue the dreams, we still do have advantages and opportunities today that just didn't exist when, like, say, when I was in school, right? Uh, I mean, till today, you've still got teachers who discourage students from going to poly. ITE is still sometimes perceived as, worst case scenario. But the truth
Mhm.
is, at least students are now savvy enough to understand that if they want to, pursue something that's more aligned to their ambitions or their dreams, then they kind of have to take the risks themselves. So, you get students who have qualified for JC but opting to go to poly now. You
Mhm.
know, students who could have gone to poly, but if they're not getting the exact course they want to, they rather go to IT and pursue it there. And that's actually great because it means that these potential talents are actually building a savvy that allows them to take these kind of risks.
And now you've got things like Kickstarter and a lot more, different platforms and ways. First, it was social media, and now you've got crowdfunding,
Yeah,
where there are ways to reach out. And so you've had a successful Kickstarter before, and now you've just launched a new one.
yeah,
So the first one was Crimson Star. It was a Singaporean superhero,
yes.
right? So that was successful. That went to print.
Mhm.
Um, but now you've got Crimson Star and a bunch of his other friends, uh, and his super friends, right? So what's this anthology about? What is this Kickstarter all about?
Okay, so it's called Singer Heroes, and it's not a very clever name because it literally just means Singaporean superheroes, and um it was basically kind of like an effort to get uh, more writers to work with us, and there was just a central theme of Singaporean superheroes. Like, write a short story, 4 to 8 pages, depicting what if Singapore had a superhero, the idea of it, or at least what if Singapore was a landscape in which these kind of sci-fi and fantasy
Mm.
things could exist. Um, it was an excuse to also bring together a lot of talents on one book because the aim, even with Crimson Star, the aim was to put the spotlight on local talents. And with an anthology, there was an opportunity to do so with so many more people. Like with Crimson Star, even or any comic for the matter, right? Chances are you got 5 names tops. You got your writer, your penciler, your inker, colorist, and then you have your letterer. That's a full team. Whereas with this, we've got 23 talents working on it, altogether 23 talents, right? From writers and creators to artists. We even have a Malaysian team. We've even got the crew that did the original, Stay Safe superheroes that later on inspired the Virus Vanguard project.
Right.
Yeah. So the original artists and their original characters are still a part of this. Um, and it's just an exercise in creativity. We took a theme that is not usually seen in Singapore, and then we just went crazy with it.
And so, what are the campaign goals for the Kickstarter, and so when is it going to run?
Okay, so the Kickstarter's up already. At the point of this conversation, there's about 2 weeks left, and what's gonna okay, so Kickstarter generally is seen as like a pre-ordering platform, right? If we
Hmm.
hit an X amount of orders and raise an X amount of funds, the project is a success, and everybody who contributed will receive what they pre-ordered. But it's also more than that. It's also an opportunity to kind of like take a peek into the creative process, get to know the creations as well as creators better throughout the whole process. And in our case, for example, of the many rewards that you can get, one of it is a special edition cover that would see the profits actually go to It's Raining Raincoats. which is like this group of people who have been helping migrant workers and stuff. So because Kickstarter itself does not actually allow charity to raise funds, but in this case, because we're giving profits from a select product, it's kind of like a loophole in a sense. Yeah. But the thing is, that's the unique thing about something like this, something that's crowdfunded, because in very many ways, it's taking away all of the retail promises or the in your face marketing and stuff. It's really just about, if you like this product, make it happen. And if not enough people like the product, it's not going to happen. It's a very democratic way of getting something done. We've got pledges that start as low as $8, but then if you're looking for the full digital copy of the book, that's 18 Sing dollars. And the typical pledge is about 28, which is the entry point for the physical comic itself, right? So you've got the standard cover, you've got the variant, which has its profits donated, and then you have the fan favorite blank cover, a hardcover edition at $55, and then there's a very limited slipcase version at $201, which has got all the covers, a copy of everything inserted, along with an additional blank cover with a sketch done for you. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of options, and in general, we encourage people to go for the $28 tier because a lot of the content is there, and if you're not like a hardcore collector or something, that's usually good enough.
Right. So I put in my pledge for the I think it's the regular
COVID-19
covers, the COVID-19 covers, right?
Yeah, the variant.
Yeah, the variant with them wearing all the masks.
Yes.
You should approach Razer because I think they're sponsoring masks now. See if they would sponsor your book.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
It would be. All right, Ryan. Thank you very much. The best of luck on your Kickstarter and wish you all the best. So how long more do we have again?
Well, at this point of time, we have about 2 more weeks.
Right. So by the time this is produced, probably 2 more days.
Likely.
No. We'll try to get this done as soon as we can. But what's the date? What's the date that this is out?
By the end of the 28th of May, like end of the day.
All right. So end of the day, 28th of May. That's the final time that we have to get the pledges in. And once this airs, I'm sure you'll hit your targets immediately.
That's the dream.
It should be. I mean, we have at least 7 people listening to this, and so it will be amazing. One of the 7 is myself, and I played it back 6 times probably, just to make sure that it went live. And
that makes it 8 because I'll probably be 2.
Right, you see, that's a spike. That's a spike right there.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan. Thank you very much, and best of luck with the Kickstarter. And one last thing before we go, right? How can artists reach you, the Fandom Menace, if they want to collaborate, want to work with you? How do they get in touch with you?
We're pretty responsive on our social media, Facebook as well as Instagram. You would also find our email contact over there. Most of these channels are governed by myself as well as the main team. So getting in touch through social media is almost definitely getting in touch with us.
All right, great to hear that. So stay safe, stay at home. Even though I think soon we might be released from captivity, but let's see. All right, Ryan, take care.
Thanks,
bye.